welcome back to Working Through Rich and Famous podcast. Hope you're all well. Just before we get started, actually, I had some lovely feedback this morning from somebody who we recorded with a couple of weeks ago. They came on, did a podcast, and has since been contacted by various estate managers and people for potential work. So really, really nice to hear that the podcast is doing good, beyond just sort of helping to educate others. It's actually, people are actually getting work through it. So great, love that. And if that helps encourage anybody listening to come and be a guest, then good. Always welcome to receive requests from people that want to be on. You can just email me at philippa@silverswanrecruitment.com. It's not scary at all. And it's just nice to have a chat, get to know me a little bit. Obviously, it really, really helps us in the industry. And then, you know, if you get contacted from potential employers, then brilliant. So yeah, do bear that in mind if you want to come on. So getting into today then. So today I'm talking with Anna, who I have known for a few years now. And as I say every week, she is a bit different, having done something different to the people we've had on before. And for a lot of people that do ski seasons back to back, winter to winter, she has the perfect job, because she does back-to-back winters, but she's employed permanently by the owners of her private chalet. So by winter, she's a chalet manager, and by summer, she's their estate manager, splitting her time between Switzerland and the UK, managing their other properties and probably, preparing, recruiting for the winter. So dream job for a lot of people listening, I'm sure. Anna, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks.
Thanks
very
for
well,
coming on.
No, I'm excited to do it.
Good. And tell us where you are at the moment.
At the moment, I'm out in Davos in Switzerland. The owners of the chalet are out here on a summer holiday. So I'm joining them for a couple of weeks. And then we'll be heading back to the UK, where they've got one of their other properties.
And I probably should mention that the family are on holiday for 2 weeks. You're probably not on holiday for 2 weeks.
No, no, it doesn't quite work like that. So whenever they're out in Davos, I'm pretty much working. I do get a day or two off, depending on how long they're here for. But, you know, it's nice. It's a change of scenery, and it's really nice to be out in the mountains in the summer.
I love the mountains in the summer.
Yeah, I actually prefer them in the summer to the winter. I just think there's so much more to do.
Probably because you've got no staff to look after.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I only have one at the moment, so it's a lot more relaxed the summer months.
Is it nice and hot at the minute?
It is warm, actually. It's we've had a little heat wave last week. And, you know, the mountains are pretty changeable in the summer and the winter, but it has been lovely. So I can't complain.
Great. Well, today in the UK is the hottest day of the year, 36 degrees.
Is it?
Absolute scorchio. I'm going to south of France in a couple of weeks on a holiday, lockdown depending, and it's hotter here.
Wow.
So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there we go. So let's go right back. So I love your story, because a lot of people that want to get into the private sector, I always advise going through the ski route is a good way, because you can work in a ski chalet without much prior experience other than some hospitality experience.
Yeah.
Get some experience, get some private experience, do it for a winter, potentially a summer, potentially another winter. Before you know it, you've got 18 months experience in a private chalet, and then you can do your yachts, your private households, whatever. So that's great. Now, there are different ends, isn't there, of the chalet market? You can go in the budget end, or you can go in at the top end. And people obviously want to go in at the top luxury end, because that will give them the experience that they need.
Yeah.
However, you managed it by starting at the lower end and then just ploughing your way through. So where did it all start for you?
Yeah, so I finished uni with a degree that I knew that I probably would never use again.
What is it?
I did product design, which hasn't actually been useful in any way kind of going forward, other than having a degree, which I did for this job. But so after I finished, I decided I wanted to do something different. So I saw an advertisement for working on a cruise ship in the Caribbean. So I applied, and I got the job, and that's kind of when my travel, I guess, wanting to work and travel started. So I did that for 6 months, working at kind of onboard promotions and sales. And then I came back and saw, you know, I started working in London for a recruitment firm, actually, and soon decided that I didn't want to be in London and wanted to be out traveling again. So I had friends that had done ski season, so I thought I'd give it a go, and they had actually worked for Ski World. So they had a number of connections. So I contacted Skiward and said, I'm applying quite late, because it must have been quite late in the year to be applying. And I got an interview and then got a job, and they said, because I applied so late, they would just allocate me when I got out to resort, which was really exciting. And I was just applying to be a chalet host. So yeah, I started with Ski World in Lech in Austria. Tiny little, there was just 2 of us in the chalet and no one else in the resort for the company. So it wasn't quite what I expected, actually, when I first got out there, I have to say.
Not the season air lifestyle you're imagining.
No, I was like, this isn't quite as it was portrayed to me, but maybe it's just where I am. But I got transferred to St. Anton, which was very different, and yeah, it was fantastic. I was working in, again, just there was 3 of us in the chalet I was working in, so we were doing, cooking, housekeeping, general chalet host role. And yeah, it was fantastic. It was probably one of the, I think the first season people always say is the best, and I'd probably go with that. It was really fun.
What's your favourite bar in St. Anton?
Oh, probably Tom Dooley's.
Ah.
The chalet I worked in was actually next door. So, and then from there, I really enjoyed it. So what did I do in the summer? I ended up working for Ingham's in the summer for their Lakes and Mountains operation as a rep. And then I went back to Ski World to a resort called Solden, which I don't think they have any longer, as a chalet host, but our chalet manager left, so I took that on. And then over the next couple of years, I just kept on taking on more responsibility from Ski World, and I ended up managing St. Anton for them, which was one of their larger operations, which was good, but it had definitely, it was tricky at times. It was probably one of the most difficult jobs I think I've had, working in the ski seasons. And from that, I then went on to work for Scott Dunn.
So just to give a bit of background to people listening that aren't familiar with sort of European ski seasons. Ski World is a huge company.
It is huge.
At the fairly bottom end of the market in terms of great all the rest, but it's a much more of affordable holiday. And then from a staffing point of view, they have a lot of staff and generally very young staff. Generally. Yes. And it's generally because standards are much lower, so it's easier to get a job with them. Because they're at the sort of more budget end of the market, their salaries and packages generally a bit lower, which generally reflect. It's great. It's a perfect place to go do seasons if that's the season that you want. But from a manager point of view, from your point of view, you're probably very young, very drunk half the time.
Yeah. I mean, their priorities just, when the team I had, I think their priorities were very different. They were there to, ski a lot. They were there to get involved in, going out in the evenings, and potentially for a lot of them, it wasn't a career move. It was more, I'll go and do 1 or 2 ski seasons. I'll have a really good time. But I probably won't take it any further. So managing that was, really tricky. I did have a very good team. I can't complain, but there was occasions where, people don't turn up for breakfast, or people decide to leave really without telling you, maybe in the middle of the night. Again, not helpful. Or maybe turning up to work after après ski. Not in the best of states. And we were slightly understaffed, which always made it quite tricky. And we had a lot of, on average, I think we had about 250 guests coming in on a weekly basis. 12 chalets and a big, and a big team. So it was just a big operation to manage. And, I think when you increase, the amount of guests, potential problems occur. But it was a steep learning curve. That's what I'd say, you
learn a lot.
I learned a lot. And I think that, I couldn't have gone on to work for higher end companies without starting with Ski World. And I was, I worked with them for 4 years, and I was really grateful, for what I learned from them. So I definitely, recommend, trying to take on more responsibility with the, with the lower end companies.
Yeah, it's definitely a way to sort of step up, because I think if you're new to management and new to sort of luxury, it'll be very difficult to step into companies like Scott Dunn. They're a high level at management. So you either, so you may as well start with a low level company and get all that experience which you can then transfer across.
Yeah, really useful.
When you moved across to Scotland, were there massive differences in the level of service, would you say?
Yes, so I went from ski in the winter, and I then managed Scott Dunn's Portuguese operation. They had 5 villas in the Algarve, and the staff to guest ratio was a lot higher. Number one, and the service offering was hugely different. The type of food that we were offering and the menus, they were all planned around the guest, which was compared to skiboard where it was a menu plan. And we had a childcare team as well. And the guests were paying a lot more. The properties were exceptional. They were a lot nicer, and I guess just the price point of the holiday is a lot higher, so clients do tend to expect more. But I took a lot of the fundamentals from working from skiboard with me, with the staff management and looking after the properties, general maintenance and housekeeping standards, but things were just a lot more thorough. And again, it was a bit of a steep learning curve, but you kind of got thrown into it, and you soon learn.
Yeah, of course. And how long have you been with Scott Dunn before? I think it was me at Silver Swan sent you out to Norway.
Yes, I went to Scott Dunn and started a winter with them in Val d'Isere, and I decided that I would do the training with them and get them set up, and then that was I wasn't keen to do another season out there, so I contacted you, and you said I've got this lovely little role in the Arctic Circle in Norway, and I was like, well, that sounds interesting.
It's pitch black all the time, I think was my intro. How do you fancy going to the arse end of nowhere where it's dark all day long?
I was like, yeah, I'll give that a go, actually. Why not? Something different. And that was fantastic, actually. It was a good, again, every season has its ups and downs, but that was something special.
Something so different.
It was so different, yeah. And the place, you couldn't imagine a place more beautiful. We saw the northern lights, the midnight sun. The lodge was right on the water, so it was just like sensational, and again, just a completely different setup to what I'd worked for before, but it was it was really good. It was a good.
And wasn't it, I remember selling it to you, I remember saying, do you want to go and do a ski season? It's in Norway, it's dark all the time, and there's no chairlift, so if you want to ski, you have to hike. There's no chairlift, was there?
No, there was no chairlifts, and from the months of, it was probably December through till maybe end of January, they didn't go skiing. We had guests that came to watch the Northern Lights. So every evening they would sit out there and hope that they would see them, which sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't. And they would do like husky rides in the day, and some other things. And then the ski season started for them in around February, went through till about May. And it was hiking. You'd hike up and ski down.
Great for some people.
Yeah. It was just, the clients we got was, just completely different. And it was my first experience of working for a private lodge, which was really valuable, actually. I don't know if I'd go back, but
well, I think it's one of those like one-time things because it's such like an unusual location, and it's literally sort of in the middle of nowhere. You weren't near anything, were you? And so it's one of those things. I remember saying to you, like, it won't be something you'll want to do again, but I think it'll be something that you're glad you did. And like you say, it was your first experience in a private property, which then I think opened the next door for you.
It did, yeah.
Because then what happened? I think it was. Did I call you? Was that straight away your current job? Was there something in between?
Well, so let's see. Before Norway, I actually applied for the job that I'm in now.
Okay.
Through you, but I got through to the interview phase, and then the lady who I took over from decided that she wasn't leaving.
That was it. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
super exciting, and you know, I was like, well, you know, at the time I thought there was no way I'd get that job anyway. It's, you know, it's
Big step up.
I haven't got the experience, and you know, maybe in a couple of years or whatever. But it turns out that she didn't leave anyway. And then that's when you said, well, in the interim, how about going to Norway? I was like, well, why not? Why not? Let's give it a go. So after Norway, I decided that I did quite a lot of cooking actually when I was in Norway, like mainly just breakfast and baking and things like that. But I wanted to go into the private household industry, but I just didn't know how to get in. You know, it's really quite tricky, I think, at times. So I thought maybe I'd carry on with the cooking side, which I really liked, and then maybe try and get in that way as a family cook, not a chef. You know, I'm nowhere near that standard of cooking, but you know, just as a family cook. So I did that, and someone took a chance. This lady in Scotland took a chance on me and my cooking partner George, and she employed us for a summer working at her shooting lodge, and that just came about because someone let her down at the last minute, and we were kind of the only resort, I think, but she took a chance on us, and that's probably what gave me the opportunity to you know, to start working in the private industry. So yeah, I just started off cooking, and from there I took on a number of different cook jobs, and then what was I after that? Yeah, just continued with the cooking. I worked for a household down in Surrey, and then from there I worked for their business associates. After that contract ended, and then I got a call from you saying the job that I'd applied for a year ago was now they were now looking for someone again, which kind of, I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about, you know, going back over to the Alps and working, but it was the best thing I could have ever done, I think.
You'll never get rid of me, I'm afraid. I'll always be like, just right behind your little shoulder with some kind of job offer. But I remember this really well, actually. I forgot the first bit. I forgot that, yeah, I remember your predecessor was going to go to America, but then she didn't, and then she stayed.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then a year later, I remember they asked if you were around still. So I remember coming back to you saying, look, are you interested? I know it feels a bit weird sometimes to revisit something. You kind of think that ship sailed. So it's weird to revisit it. And also, if you've now left winter seasons, people don't often go back. It's kind of like you do it and then you're done and then you leave. But and then I had you, and they wanted a few other candidates lined up. So I think I had like 3 or 4 candidates lined up to interview with them. And I think about 3 or 4 had their initial interview, including you, and then they wanted to go meet in person. They're meeting you in person first, and the next day, over the next like 2 or 3 days, they're meeting everybody in person.
Yeah.
And I think maybe a couple, maybe there's one other through me. I think there was a couple from another agency. Anyway, you'd been in to meet with them, and I remember I was in Val d'Isere. I remember this so clearly. I was in Val d'Isere, and you'd had your interview and you'd left. I remember speaking to you, and you're like, "Oh, I don't know how that went," because I kept focusing on my lack of longevity. I've moved around a bit, and I'm not sort of what they. I don't know if I've got enough experience for them. And then as soon as I got off the phone, I got a call straight away from them or from your predecessor saying cancel all the other interviews, were taken now. And then I called you, and you were like, "Oh crap." Oh. And I was like, you best bloody accept it after all this. But I think you were just so shocked because it was such a good opportunity for you, because it was just like a good step up for you. One you were totally capable for, but a good step up. And again, these kind of roles don't float around very often.
They do not, no.
Chalet / UK positions.
Yeah, I remember doing the initial interview with the lady I took over from, and thinking, you know, even if I had just gone that far, that was, you know, good experience enough, you know, to have done the interview. And then when she said, "Can you come to London and meet with the owners?" I was like, "I can, yeah, you know, I'd love to." I was so nervous. I remember turning up at their house and thinking, you know, the interview was fairly formal, and I remember going into the house and just coming out thinking that was great, but I have 100% not got it. And I remember calling you saying, definitely worthwhile, but probably not going to be me, no. And then when you called and said they don't want to interview anyone else, I was like, no, fair enough, totally get it, you know, I'll keep looking. Not because of that they were going to take me on, it was a real shock. I also think because, you know, they're hugely successful, but their interview technique of not giving anything away, and keeping quite kind of, not giving like any emotions or anything about what they thought, I came out thinking, well, I'm not really sure what to think, but I think that's probably a sign of a good interviewer.
Yeah, and there we are. And then that was 4 years ago now.
Yeah, I'm going into my 5th year with them now.
And so how's your role changed? How has it changed over there? So firstly, do you want to explain a little bit about what your role involves, or maybe what involved it before, and then how it's changed?
Yeah, so fundamentally I'm employed as a general manager of the lodge. So I look after the business for them, which they run in Switzerland, which is a luxury ski lodge. We cater for guests in the winter months, and occasionally in the summer months we run self-catering. But in the winter months it's super luxury. We have a team of 8 here, and the guests come for a week's stay. They can't book one night, they have to come for a week. And we have a complete range of different nationalities and clients that come and stay with us. A lot of returning clients. And so I manage the day-to-day running of the lodge, recruitment, sales, marketing, everything really encompassed in the business. That's kind of number one task. And then in the summer months, when I first started for them, I was kind of working, I guess, more as a PA. I was based in their house in London. We'd travel out with them in the summer to Davos. But in the summer, kind of helping mainly with PA tasks, errand running. They have children as well, so helping with the children in the summer, and getting stuff ready for the winter. And it's kind of changed over the 4 years I've worked with them, because they have bought another property, which needed huge amounts of renovation, and I've been involved a lot in that. So I moved in the summer months from London down to the countryside, and I've been working with them on this property, as well as continuing my work with the business.
I was saying earlier before we started recording, it's so true. When you're good at your job, you end up being a victim of your own success, because the better you are, the more you're given, and then you end up just taking more and more on. You'd be not best off at all, but if you're in an office environment, the people that are crap at their jobs have the easiest ride.
Yeah,
Good at their jobs get loads. It's a testament. It's a good sign that your role is ever evolving and they're always giving you more, because it means that you're just growing within the position.
Yeah, and it means that it never gets boring. It's it's all it's every day is different generally, and it's been really good, because there's loads of things that I've new skills I've learned through kind of taking on additional jobs and things with them. So it is it's very interesting. Never a dull day.
No, I bet. And so to give people an idea of the level of Chalet, are we allowed to sort of say what your most expensive week goes for? Like maybe Weft week? It's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's the World Economic Forum, which is held once a year in Davos, which is this kind of global meeting of business leaders and the rich and famous. And it goes it goes for a lot of money.
Is it hundreds of thousands?
It's hundreds of thousands for a week's stay.
Hundreds of thousands for a week's stay, yeah. So I thought it was more than a couple as well. So it's a good indication for people listening as to when we're talking about a luxury lodge, that's the level. People are spending hundreds of thousands a week to stay there, and that's for accommodation and their sort of food. So it's good. It just goes to show how top end of the market you guys really are. And then the pressures that goes on you. If people are spending that kind of money for a week's accommodation, it's the pressure on you as a manager and the team to ensure that it's a valuable, stay. So
nothing, you can't afford for anything, to not be perfect, really.
I came to I think it was before you started. You'll have to correct me if not. I came to Davos to visit either you or your predecessor and say hi to Chalet, and it was Weft week. It was the day of Weft week, which is a terrible time for me to visit the resort because every single road was shut down by police.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
guards on every road because there's literally like world leaders like flying in for that week.
Yeah.
And I'm there like in my little, I don't know, Fiat, whatever, trying to drive through to say hi to the chalet staff. And I turned up and was it you? I came to
it was me. Yeah, no,
it was you. And
you had lunch upstairs. That's right.
But was that Weft week when your American guest didn't turn up?
No, they all of our Weft guests have turned up.
Yeah, honestly, I think it was your predecessor because it was one of the first times I came. I came and she said that the client had paid over a couple of €100,000 euros for the week, and they'd made mad requests. They wanted all the TVs changing for slightly bigger TVs in all the bedroom. They wanted one of the bedrooms to be converted to a gym. They wanted a specific linen imported from America for all of their beds, and so a lot of effort.
The year before me, I think.
A lot of effort had gone in, and obviously they'd spent hundreds of thousands of euros and a lot of effort to basically adapt the chalet to fit. And then it didn't turn up because it wasn't very well. And so I turned up and they had a week's worth of incredible food that the staff were just living off. And then they just basically put the gym back into a bedroom. They sent the linen back to America. They put the TVs back on the wall. And that was the end of that. And crazy.
Still have the running machine actually from that week.
I don't know.
Yeah, now it's part of the chalet, so.
That's just day in the life, isn't it, really, of stuff that happens.
Yeah. You just, you never quite know. I mean, we try and preempt, we ask a number of questions before guests arrive with new clients and ask for, what requests they would like and make sure that the stay is ready for them when they get here. So it's home away from home. But sometimes, clients don't want to tell you anything before they get here, which is fine. It's, it's their holiday. We can arrange it when they get here, but it is a lot easier if you have requests prior to arrival.
So this blows my mind because we hear this all the time. One of the biggest challenges people have in their roles is lack of communication from the boss. And they don't really know if the boss is coming or not coming or who's coming or when coming. But my view is, they obviously know what they're doing generally, and they want surely the best time possible. So if you just tell me, just one quick email, one quick phone call, just to give me the number of people that are coming and the day you're coming, that's all I need to know. Yeah. And then I will make sure you have a fabulous time. But they don't give that information, and then you're basically just chasing your tail the entire week. But it's like we would give you a better service if we had just an ounce of information. Yeah. Bananas. I guess
sometimes it is, these people that we're looking after have such busy lives, and I guess the staff working for them have, incredibly busy lives that they just don't think sometimes to, let us know, which, is fine. We do make do with information, but I would definitely say, with more so with the guests we have in the winter who are, are not the owners, they're very good with communication, but the with private guests, and you just you have no idea. Things like dietaries for the chefs, or if they're bringing small children, or if they want ski teachers or nannies or things like that can be arranged last minute, but we will get better ones if prearrange it. But it's part and parcel, isn't it?
It is part and parcel. So you obviously manage the recruitment. So over the course of the summertime, you generally do your interviewing and get your team in place.
Yeah.
So for people listening, so if you're doing your recruitment, firstly, what are the roles that you recruit for in your chalet?
So generally, if I didn't have any returning staff, we have myself, we have an assistant manager, we have 2 drivers, we have a head chef, a sous chef, and 2 host housekeepers. So there's 8 of us in total. So it is a large team for, on average, we will never have more than 16 guests. We can sleep up to 18, but numbers are generally lower. So the guest staff ratio is huge, which I think gives a good indication as to the service that we're offering.
Yeah. And so if you're looking at CVs, and if people wanted to come and do a job or come and work for you in the chalet, what kind of experience do you like to see on a CV?
I mean, having come from working for the lower end companies, I don't rule that out at all, because I think that they offer, really good experience. The thing that I'm looking for is, a really good attitude and someone who is potentially looking to carry on in the industry. It's not just, I'm going to do a ski season to get as much skiing and drinking in as possible. I'm coming to, you know, aid my career and then potentially go on to more, or potentially return with us to then, you know, get a more senior job. So we're looking for ideally previous ski season experience, ideally yacht or private household experience, especially for the more senior roles like the assistant manager and the head chef. We'd be looking for people who had worked, you know, a considerable amount of years in the industry. And with the chefs, we're looking for ideally a couple of stages undertaken, and again, having worked another private chalet in the Alps potentially, or villas, or yachts, or maybe private households. Yeah. But you know, I tend, you know, we would like a couple of years experience, you know, within the ski industry ideally.
Yeah, just because the level that you're at, really, and it's the level that you're at. Like, there are lots of other companies where you can do your first role with the aim to move up to you guys.
Exactly, and I almost think, you know, for your first ski season, you know, go and experience it to its full.
Yeah.
Go and have fun. Maybe do a couple like that, and then decide if this is something you want to do. And if you want to do, then, you know, then come to us. We don't tend to take on people who are, you know, doing their first season, just because the team that we have here is, you know, tends to be slightly older, just because of the experience needed. And it's not a Davos, you know, you can go out, and there are definitely places to go out, and it can be really lively, but it is not your St. Anton and your Val d'Isère, where you've got hundreds of seasonaires from different companies, and there is something going on every night, and there is €5 night or whatever, and there's this party for these seasonaires and stuff. Davos is not like that. So potentially it might not appeal to people doing their first ones, and we are also thinking that maybe we'd take people on with slightly more experience.
Yeah, we find that when we help you with your recruitment, it's sort of like just where you're based, just generally sort of like filters out a big people that you wouldn't want anyway. Like, do you want to go to Davos? What's it like? Quiet nap. Like, do you know what I mean? Skiing, have a good night, you know, you're not day off, great. But yeah, people that are, there are a lot of people. When I did my ski season, I was the worst. Like, I would never employ me now. I was 21 and I literally had the full-on seasonal lifestyle. Went out every single day. And that's brilliant. I'd encourage that for everybody.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
You wouldn't go to Davos to do that. And
no, you know, and we are only 8, and it's not a particularly English resort either. So it's mostly German and Swiss. So the 8 people that we're working with here are the 8 people that you're living with and you're socializing with, you're skiing with. It's a different kind of season, which suits some people and just doesn't suit others, I guess. So
yeah, exactly. And having a sous chef is such a good opportunity for so many young chefs, your sous chef position, because very few chalets have a sous chef.
Yeah.
So you either, as a chef coming out to do a winter season, you need to be good enough and confident enough to run your own chalet kitchen, or you need to go to a hotel. And hotels aren't great because you probably need to speak French. So basically, if you're a new chef, you'd have to go for a lower level company where the food is a bit more simple. If you want to be in a private chalet, you need to be for a certain level. Yours is literally one of the only chalets, I think, where I can help place a competent chef, but who is not ready yet to run their own kitchen. Or that wouldn't want to, and then they can work under a chef who normally your head chefs of all at Michelin level, all very experienced. So what a nice opportunity for a sous chef.
Yeah, it's ideal, and you know, they're learning a lot, but they've still got, you know, someone kind of overseeing what they're doing. And there's, you know, we've had some really good sous chefs actually who have then gone on to, you know, use this as a stepping stone. And our sous chef this year, you know, was, you know, great standard coming in, but I think that she felt that she definitely learned a lot through being here. Yeah.
Good. So how you manage obviously all the sales and stuff? How has COVID affected sort of sales for the next winter? Like, what's your winter looking like?
I mean, the winter is really uncertain at the moment.
You have
So
bookings?
we do have a few bookings. We have so some of our peak weeks, unlike kind of another, private chalets, the owners do take some of the weeks. The Christmas they'll always take, and Easter. So those ones have gone already. The World Economic Forum, we have returning clients again for the third year, which is great, and that's obviously our week that we need to sell every year, which generally goes. And then we have half term books again with some returning clients, but it has been slow, and we're also wondering, just how it will work with, at the moment Switzerland is still, you can't have any big gatherings. So we're wondering how it's going to work with things like the gondolas, the train, ski buses, although we have the driver service, that's, not so much with our guests. But I was chatting to the owners this week, and, we're unsure if maybe we should be keeping a week between every booking, or at least 72 hours, so that, yeah, and obviously our cleaning standards are pretty thorough, but we're going to ensure that they're put up again, and maybe temperature checking staff between morning shifts and when they come back in the evening.
Oh God, they would love it.
Yeah.
They would love it. Imagine going and well, you shouldn't, but imagine going into work a bit tired, say.
Yeah.
Thinking of
temperature. Yeah.
Hour shift, and then you're told to go home. I'll be like, oh shucks.
Yeah. So I mean, the owners have actually just been and stayed at one of the Four Seasons resorts, and they said that the staff were having their temperature checks every 4 hours.
Wow.
Staff numbers they've lessened, and they've also lessened some aspects of the service, so they're not doing turn down. They're not doing kind of buffet breakfast. Breakfasts are done in your own room. So we're definitely thinking, how we can change things to make the clients feel more comfortable. But at the moment, it's, we're planning to wait, probably till the end of September before we make any decisions on the winter.
And what's so difficult with planning, because we're talking about ski companies at the minute as well with recruitment, is by December, this could, like, if it continues as it is, because things are being relaxed a lot in the UK now, if it continues as it is, with no more spikes, nothing, winter will be fine. But equally, there could be a huge second spike in October, and we could all be locked in for Christmas. Like, it could go either way. How difficult is that to plan for? It's a nightmare.
It is a nightmare. And also with the recruitment, we generally recruit early because we want to get the best staff. But now, we just we potentially can't be taking on 8 members of staff and then the chalet not operating.
Yeah, it's not fair on the staff. It's messing them around. It's wasting your time.
Yeah, and it just doesn't just won't work for the business. If we're not looking after guests, I'm not sure what we would do with 8 members of staff.
So basically, between you and me, should we just like keep some good stuff to one side ready?
Yeah.
That'd
be ideal.
Do a little deal.
We're looking to just recruit a little bit later this year, and maybe take on more of a skeleton team, and potentially flying out candidates when we, as and when, instead of maybe the whole 8 members.
Yeah. What will be, we just have to wait and see, won't we? So we're actually like, well, how is it? We're literally running out of time. And before we end, I wanted to, I don't know how this is going to go down, but basically moving forward, I'd like to start doing a couple of new features on this podcast. And poor Anna's been lumped at the beginning. I listen to podcasts all the time, and I like it when there's regular features. And so what we're going to do in every podcast now is I'm going to ask everybody the same question, which is, what's the most bizarre thing you've had at work, seen at work, done at work, whether it's staff, whether it's guests. I've got a good one for you in your chalet if you can't think of one, whether I should say it or not, I don't know. And then to finish up, I did it on a previous episode, we're going to do a very quick fire round, literally quick one-word answers. So I'm going to start doing it on every podcast just because I think it'll be funny, and I reckon if I catch people off guard, they might tell me something they might not want to tell me.
We'll have to edit it out.
Well, exactly. There might be a few beep, beep, beep throughout it. But we'll just do it quite quickly. So in your 4 years or anything you've done, have you had any weird experience, like weird requests or staff that's done weird things or stuff that you're like, you'll never guess what bloody happened to me last week?
Quite a strange one. In the summer, I had a booking that I didn't know an awful lot of, I didn't get much information through. It's always self-catering. And the guests turned up and they started removing every piece of furniture out of the lodge. I don't understand what you're doing. This, obviously we don't write that in the contract that, you must keep the furniture in its place, because you would think that people would do that when they would turn up to a chalet. And it was actually, we ended up having a rabbi here that was here for a conference, and they didn't want any of our furniture. They only wanted his. So it was very bizarre, very, very bizarre. But every piece of furniture, painting was stripped from the lodge.
Right. Firstly, we're talking about a multi-million-pound lodge here. So this guy turns up. Where does he put this furniture? It's a big lodge.
Yeah. I mean, it was just a nightmare. And I would never ever. This was actually in the second year I was working for them. I would never do it again, because it's just really it's not on.
Where did Where did it go?
Some of it they put in the ski room in our inside garage, and other things, mainly there, and a couple of rooms that they weren't using, but they brought in their own beds. They had kind of portable sinks. That same week, actually, they changed a number of our light switches.
Why?
They put in special. I mean, it was, some of it's a cultural thing, which I now know a little bit more about, but that was very bizarre. Yeah,
that is really bizarre. I don't know if I should tell my story or not about your chalet. Do you reckon I shouldn't?
Yeah, I mean it. Yeah, why not? Why not?
Oh God, I honestly don't know if I should tell this story. It all depends. Right, I will. So basically, it was before you started, so you're all right.
Yeah.
I don't know how much detail to go in, whether to be fully honest or not. I'll tell the story anyway. So basically, I get a call from the person that used to be the chalet manager in your chalet. She says to me, "Do you know this chauffeur? He was placed by another agency, and do you know the chauffeur?" And I did know the chauffeur. I'd heard the name, and he'd been on our books. We hadn't placed him in the end, but we had registered him. We had referenced him. He seemed fine. We didn't luckily we weren't the one to place him, but she said, well, he had a good interview and he turned up and he was fine to start, but he'd just gone really weird. I was like, right. And so basically he was being really, really weird, and then all of a sudden he's just disappeared with the van. Just one night, drove off in the van, didn't come back. And I was like, okay, that's really weird. No, I've not heard from him. I don't really know. I don't know where he might be. And they said, and anyway, they said, well, we're going to do some digging. Anyway, they called me back the next day. And I said, you never guess what? He's on the run. There was a warrant out for his arrest. And basically, he'd been on Dragon's Den, like on TV. He'd been on TV on Dragon's Den, and he had won an investment. And so one of the dragons had invested in this business of his, whatever it was. And then he'd done a runner with their money.
Yeah.
Right, and then he'd gone and got a job in your chalet. Luckily, you weren't there, as a chauffeur. And I just think if you're going to steal, I probably wouldn't steal that kind of money, nor from someone who's very wealthy, nor when I'd got it on TV. Like, it's a very public forum where he'd won this investment. And I don't know how he thought he could just scoot off to a quiet ski resort and get away with a couple of $100,000. Yeah. Anyway, so there was a warrant out of arrest, and I think they managed to get the vehicle back. And never heard from the guy again. So who knows if he got caught, or who knows if he whatever. But that would be stressful for you, wouldn't it? Any manager to have a member of staff disappear in the middle of the night is annoying and stressful anyway. And then when you find out that he's an absolute psychopath that's trying to rip off a dragon from Dragon's Den.
It's not what you want, no.
Probably explains. There's lots of people in America that listen to this. Dragon's Den's a TV show where you go on and you ask for an investment from a panel of very wealthy business people, and they come invest in your business. So you can't just run away to a ski resort.
No.
Anyway, so luckily that wasn't in your year, so luckily you didn't have to deal with that.
No, that's all good. That is all good.
Right then, let's wrap up then. So I've only got a few here, very, very quick fire questions. So, are you a skier or a snowboarder?
Skiing.
Would you prefer to après or do more skiing?
I do like après, can't lie. Yeah.
I don't understand people that ski. Ski for the morning, have a really long lunch, maybe do one run to a bar, and then that's the end of the day. None of this ski until 5 o'clock business.
No, that you've just outlined my ideal ski day. Yeah.
And then when I say ski morning, I mean do an hour, have a van show, do half an hour, have a quick something or other, and then stop for lunch 12 if you can. I get a couple of hours skiing in my day. You've answered this earlier, but do you prefer summer or winter?
I prefer summer.
I hope you answered. Chalet chefs, are they a different breed or do you find them quite normal?
I've worked with a selection over the years.
That's a different breed. I would also say they're lovely, but definitely a different breed. What's your biggest turn off in a member of staff? What's your biggest bugbear? What could someone do that what's just so annoying?
If someone is to say that's not my job or isn't a team player, just I don't want to work with someone like that.
Yeah, that is annoying. We have touched on this. Previous ski, villa, yacht experience, essential or not to you?
Yes.
Yeah,
but I'm always open to looking. You always send me through a range of CVs and I'm always open to looking at them, but generally what we're looking for tends to be from people who have worked on yachts or villas or previous ski seasons.
Generally falls into that anyway, because that's the kind of experience we need. Do you love it or hate it when kids turn up?
Oh, tricky one. I don't mind.
Apart from the kids that belong to the owners.
Yeah, of course I love it when they turn up. I don't mind. I really honestly don't mind, because it's sometimes nice to have the children in the chalet because it tends to be quieter, more sensible weeks than having
loud because they're kids, but quieter. You don't generally party till 4 in the morning if there's kids there.
No, exactly.
Nice. And then finally, true or false? And it's only because people think it's true. Is it easier being a chalet manager than a chalet host?
No,
definitely not. I say that because a lot of people think that their chalet manager doesn't do as much, and so I can't wait to be a manager because then I don't have to do as much cleaning and stuff. But it's because they don't see how much else you do and everything else that happens.
Yeah, and it's great being a chalet host in some respects because there's the responsibility is minimal. But no, I'd say that it is more tricky being in management.
Completely agree. I think people think when you become a manager, you don't have to do as much hands-on and you can be a bit more sort of distant, but it's just not the case. It's just a whole different bag of responsibilities,
exactly.
Way more stressful responsibilities.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it's just completely different, completely different roles.
So there we go. Well, that was easy.
Brilliant.
What was it that I took out? Because I thought it was a bit mean. I reckon the longer I do, if I do this quick fire feature, the longer I do it for, the meaner I'm going to get, and I'm going to start asking people some horrible questions. Funny.
I'm glad I was the first. That was kind.
Yeah, you were the first. So there we are. Well, thank you very much. That was super useful, and I think really lovely for people to sort of know that these jobs exist, because people say to us saying, I really want a permanent job where I can do UK in the summer and winter in the Alps for the same family. They do exist, but it's just right place, right time, good interview.
Right place, right time, and that is exactly what it was for me. And once you get working for a nice family, then it's ideal, really.
And you get that nice family, you get the right fit. It gives you the sort of lifestyle that you want, but it also gives you that longevity where you can really get your feet under the table like you've had here, and you can get a really long career with the same family. Yeah,
that's what I think. When you're applying for private household jobs, that's what they're looking for, that you've stuck it out with, families. I think for longevity, definitely.
Cool. Well, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your time in the mountains.
I will do. Enjoy the heat wave.
Give us a shout when you're ready to start your recruitment again.
Yeah.
Whatever that might be. Good luck, obviously, with getting prepared. I think everybody that's listening that's preparing for ski season in the same boat. But it is what it is. The winter will arrive, and it will be whatever it will be, you know.
Yeah, I think it'll happen in some kind of form. We just don't know what form it will. But
yeah, exactly.
Something will go ahead. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, thank you very much. That's a wrap for today. Everybody who's listening, if you are enjoying what you're hearing, then please do listen in every Wednesday when we release new episodes. You can come and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. We put it on as well. And if you'd like to be a guest, please do come email me, philippa@silverswanrecruitment.com. It could be really good for your career and a bit of fun. And then, yeah, if you're looking for work, if you're looking for staff, come and visit us at Silver Swan Recruitment. And that's it for now. I'll see you all next week. Cheers. Bye.